Now I'm seeing a spinny wheel. You're live. Hooray! Hello, everyone. Princess Alethea here. It's my crown. You can see this is tumbleweed that I collected from Kansas, not on my recent storm chasing trips. This is back when I went to Haven, Kansas, many years ago during one of the incarnations of the Haven, Kansas draft. I rewrote that book, I don't know how many times in 10 years. It took me 10 years to get that book properly written. Um, yeah, that book took a long time, but now it's perfect. So now it's published, and we're going to try to get it on Netflix because that would make a really great Netflix miniseries. Or do they call them seasons now? I don't know. When it's like Good Omens and it just technically has one season, we used to call those miniseries. I don't know if we still call them miniseries. Okay. Hold potentially inappropriate messages for review. Well, that's weird. I mean, I guess I'll try. No, I won't turn that on. I'm checking out the chat. All right, yesterday we checked out the royal we. I say we because eventually Sarah's going to have to, you know, be not in charge of this because obviously I have to do the show. But Sarah's going to help do things on the back end or the posting or downloading or whatever. So I always say we, which is just funny because then it becomes the royal we, and I'm also okay with that. But yesterday was Twitch day, and it took me forever to figure out how to go live on Twitch. It took me about 5 seconds to figure out how to go live on YouTube. So cheers, YouTube. Oh, you can't read this. Can I flip on Facebook, you can flip the screen so you can read things. And seeing as I show books and stuff to folks, what is this? This is probably a share button. Is my microphone even working? Hello? Yeah, okay, it's working. This is all testing. I was not thrilled with Twitch yesterday. Within about 5 seconds, I had a troll. Apparently, that's very common for Twitch, and that bothers me because one of the reasons that I do these is because I want to chat with my friends, not because I want to hang out with trolls. Chatting with my friends gets me out of bed every morning. What does that mean? That means nothing. Okay. Chat. Participate. Or participants. Oh, participants. No one, because no one's chatting yet. Welcome to live chat. I don't need to. Oh, hi, Princess Sarah. I was just talking about you. Hooray! Excellent. Anyway, I didn't feel that great on Twitch. I'm still going to try it because I tell everyone to try the social medias, not just once because you're not going to like it. Actually, try it a bunch of times. I mean, my gosh, I had Instagram forever. And every time there's a new social media, I sign up and put my name on it because I really don't want someone else with my name parading around. So I always keep these social medias, and eventually, even if I don't like them, they fade into obscurity. Like, oh, let me count the millions: Sue and Elo and Periscope, and oh, so many things. But I have them, and I have a profile on them just to try them. Good morning, Keely. And yeah, I had Instagram forever. Now I'm sort of in love with Instagram. And then Facebook bought Instagram and it made me hate it a little more. But I loved Instagram that you could cross post everything and it was wonderful. And that it was mostly pictures and then it was very little, not just trolls, but people saying, look, here's what I have that's better than you. Or look, now I'm going to tell you how to do something in your life. There's a lot of that on Facebook. Everybody assumes that everyone else is an idiot and that they need to impart their amazing knowledge. which, yes, if I ask for it, like, what's this plant? Or do you have a name for this troll? Um, then yes, I would like for you to impart your knowledge. Oh, sorry. Sleep. We're going to talk about sleep in a minute. I didn't like LO. The Litzy. I don't remember Litzy. Is that like library thing where you could list all your books? There was library thing in Goodreads, and I joined Goodreads, and ugh, Goodreads. I'm almost never on Goodreads. Although I say that, there's a lot more on Goodreads too, which is thus my reaction. But I've actually met some lovely, lovely reviewers from Goodreads, and anyone who reads a book and takes the time to review it, thank you. We appreciate that, regardless of whether or not you give it a stellar review or spell your words right or whatever. You've taken the time. Taking the time is pretty amazing. Um, I think that's wonderful. And at BEA, my first signing at BEA, one of the women standing in my line said, um, "You were the first author, the only author that ever liked a review I posted on Goodreads." Because they tell us as authors, don't go on Goodreads, don't read your reviews. Well, I am a reviewer. I review for NPR. I reviewed for Intergalactic Medicine Show. I reviewed for the Rutherford Reader. I reviewed for Ingram. I did a lot of things in review land. And I know that when people write reviews, it's actually more about the person psychologically than it is about you. You can tell from my NPR reviews, they're more like blog posts. And I was a little worried because, hello, it's NPR. I was a little worried when I turned them in that they would just sort of be, look, it's a Liberty Gibbet writing this. However, turns out they really wanted to hire Flibberty Gibbets. And I turned up and they were like, oh my God, we love your voice. So many people try to write for NPR. And they were so glad that I wasn't trying to do that, which is good because I don't know if I would have been able to do that. I just write and I'm like, hey, so this thing happened to me the other day. And also I like this book. That's a lot of my reviews. But in a good, fun way. Hi, good morning, Kate. Oh, all about books. Yeah. I was never on, what is it, Litzy. Kate, I love you. I love your daughters. Thank you for giving me joy last night. See, this is why I wanted to try Twitch, because I do actually watch some live streams on Twitch, and one of them is Kate's daughter, who sometimes sings Disney songs and sometimes plays video games. And last night she played a video game where she literally burned down the forest multiple times and chased a turkey and a cat, a half cat, half raccoon, for so long that I was giggling so hard I thought I might pee my pants. And that was so much fun. That was so much fun. And these are the things that Twitch is meant for. Now, granted, Kate knows how to do so many more things with the Twitch stream. I just show up like this and I'm like, hello, everyone. Cheers. I can't figure out how to flip my video. And also my bedroom door is open. So you can see the pretty purple color of my bedroom. This is super, super low key. Can I post a link to the clip from last night? Oh, yes, absolutely. If you can do that, please do, because that's wonderful. Can I also share it, or is that just for this chat? I don't know how all these things work. I'm still learning. But yeah, Twitch, I don't know. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it the old college try for the rest of the month anyway. But I'm going to flip-flop, I think, between Twitch and YouTube. So far, I like YouTube a lot better. I'm not sure. Okay. Well, awesome. I'll have to figure out how to. Twitch is fun. Except for when people come in randomly and comment horrible things. The comment that I got yesterday, which actually wasn't too bad, but someone popped in and said, Lord of the Rings is better than anything you or your friends have ever written. And I was like, well, thank you for your opinion. Everyone loves everything. I'm staring at a Lord of the Rings poster in my house right now. This is my Lord of the Rings shelf in my library. I'm not debating the fact that Lord of the Rings is an amazing thing, but using it to put the rest of us down is just mean. And thanks for stopping by and saying this mean thing. Um, how is writing for the Enchanted series going? Well, thank you, Keely. It's not going at all. That's the whole reason I posted my Patreon to begin with. If I can make enough money to survive, so that I don't have to do the 59,000 things that I do in order to scrape together a living, then I will write the rest of the series. I have the first, I don't know, fourth of Thursday's book written. I let my fairy goddaughter read it. I was like, here you go. She read the first chapter and she said, am I allowed to keep going? I said, honey, you read all you want. I'll leave you alone. I'll come back in about an hour. Yeah, Thursday's book was being written, and I got dumped by my publisher, but in a timely fashion. I actually got dumped by my publisher and my boyfriend on the same day, because nothing happens in my life that is small. Yeah, so the publisher called my agent and said, we have no interest in publishing the rest of the Woodcutter series. I had tried to submit Tricks as like a spinoff. They didn't like the Tricks idea. Nothing. So their option clause said that they had first dibs on everything. And essentially what they did in that phone call was let me out of my option clause. At the time, all I could think was, oh my God, my publisher's breaking up with me and I can't publish the rest of my series and this is awful. What I realized later was my editor was letting me out of my option clause as a saving grace, because they were about to reorganize the whole entire company and everyone I ever worked with quit. So yeah, it was really good that I wasn't stuck with a publisher who had all the rights to my series as an orphaned. They call you an orphaned author when that happens. And the editor that they stuck me with after that didn't just hate my books. She hated publishing in general. And she left publishing shortly after that. I don't remember her name. I wouldn't share it if I could remember it, because honestly, it doesn't matter. She's not even in the publishing industry anymore. But that is the reason there is a giant glaring typo in Dearest. She kept giving me copy edits after my editor and I had already finished the book. It was ready to go to print. And somehow 2 copy edits continued to come through. Well, of course, I spent time to look at them. I was in Vermont. I did take time out of my time in Vermont. I'm pretty sure this was actually also, was this when Josh died? It was when somebody died. My grandmother. Maybe it was my grandmother. Anyway, I had to take time out of my time in Vermont to go through all of these copy edits. And one of them, the copy editor tried to make me explain everything in the climax of the book because she didn't understand what was going on. And I'm like, well, it's not my fault you didn't read closely enough. And also, I'm not going to interrupt the climax of my book to explain to you the themes of this book. If you didn't figure them out by now, then this is probably just not the book for you. So, but I go through all the copy edits anyway, because inevitably someone will find something that is misspelled and is actually wrong. So I went through painstakingly through every single one and steaded, which means ignore, lots of them, but I also accepted some of them. I have a feeling that this giant misspelled word was in some of them, but I had written back to the editor, my orphaned editor, and said, you know, this one is a little bit out there, and she's telling me to explain myself and jump through all these hoops, and we would have done that already. I'm copy editing, so I'm just going to ignore most of this. And she's like, whatever, I don't care. You can ignore them all. I don't care. And I think she just ignored all of my feedback. So all of the things that I actually accepted, that editor just ignored. So after I listened to the audiobook, I definitely noticed the one glaring typo because I heard it in the audiobook. And now, of course, Katie can't fix it because she's no longer with us. And that sucks because she was actually going to go back. When she won the Audie that year, because every time I went to the Audie Awards, she won the Audie for Best Voice of the Year. And I said, there was a typo in that book. And she's like, I knew it was a typo because it was in the book. They wouldn't let me change it. And I'm going to go back and argue with them and tell them they need to change that because it was actually a typo. Yeah, I don't think that ever happened. Good morning, Mom. I was talking about Enchanted and why the Woodcutter series is currently not being written. But if, does it tell me how many people are in this chat? 5. Yes. Hello, everyone. If I can get my Patreon up to a decent point, then I will write the Woodcutter Sisters. I can drop everything and concentrate on that and finish. I know how the series is going to finish. Do I know every tiny little minutia thing? No. But I do not currently have enough money saved up. In fact, I am in huge amounts of debt from leaving an abusive relationship and moving to Florida and having my publishing career crash around my ears a couple of times. Thank you, election of 2016. And yeah, I just don't have enough to survive on while I write that series. So that's what the Patreon is really for. I ended up getting rid of all the rest of the, once it gets to this amount, I'll do a fairy tale rant. And once it gets to this amount, I'll do a podcast. I just took away all of that. Once it gets to whatever, $2,000 or $2,500, which I think I even took that off. It's just like a percentage. Right now, all you can see is once it gets to the 100%, then I can write the Woodcutter Sister series. But my Patreon has not grown in the last year, which is slightly depressing. But I super appreciate all the patrons that I have. And who knows, maybe one day it will get up that high. But chances are by then I will probably have another publisher and another agent and be super successful and have my writing pay for itself all on its own. And if and when that happens, and I have some extra time and I don't have to take every single narration gig and review gig and everything else, I will have the time to write an extra book. But for now, I'm going to write picture books in middle grade. And I am starting a new book today and I am so excited. And yes, it's about storm chasing. It's going to be Twister meets Stranger Things with an Oz twist. And I'm telling you there's an Oz twist because there's all of 5 of you watching and probably only 5 more are going to watch this later. But I'm super excited to start writing that today. And the way my process goes is, I took tons of notes. This is my Oz or bust. That's what I've been calling. This is my Oz or bust, which you can see backwards because I can't figure out how to flip the video. My notebook, and on one side I wrote my journal entries from when I was on the road storm chasing, and on the other side I wrote all the notes for things that I might want to include in the book. Haha. Princess Sarah is kind of the reason Oz or Bust exists because it was supposed to just be a t-shirt. See? T-shirt. Oz or Bust. And I thought I was emailing Justine. We were talking about ideas for t-shirts for storm chasing. And I went, haha, Oz or Bust, or lol, Oz or Bust, whatever. That's all that was in the email. And instead of sending it to Justine, I accidentally sent it to Sarah. And Sarah emailed me back and she's like, I have no idea what this is, but if it's a new middle grade book, I want to read it. And all I knew at that point was I wanted to write a book that was Oz meets Stranger Things. But what I realized was I really want the book to be about storm chasing. I want it to be about storm chasing. And climate change is huge right now. And there really hasn't been a decent storm chasing anything since Twister, which there should be because it's even just the technology is so much different. Never mind Jonas with his corporate sponsors. Jonas could be working for an extreme streaming channel that is trying to send him into the tornado and he's putting everyone else in danger. That's legitimate. And there are people out there who do that and have very little science behind them and think that they've reinvented the moon. And the rest of the meteorologists, especially my chase crew, are all in the background going, oh, seriously, guys, seriously? Yeah. But everyone else is like, oh my gosh, the science is amazing. It's not amazing. It's terrible. So While I would also love to write the Twister reboot, for right now, I'm going to write Oz or Bust, which is the working title, but I think Oz is actually going to be the surprise at the end. Because if you put Wizard of Oz in the beginning of your book, people go into it thinking ruby slippers, which is exactly what I don't want them to go into the books thinking, because in the Wizard of Oz books, the slippers were not ruby, they were silver. And that's like legitimately the one iconic thing that people remember from the Wizard of Oz. And everyone talks about ruby slippers, and all the little tchotchkes that are sold all over the place are ruby slippers this and ruby slippers that. There are no ruby slippers in the book. Every time I see an image where Dorothy has silver slippers, I take a picture and I share it all over the internet, because I'm like, yes, finally someone, read the book that the man himself wrote and created. There were no ruby slippers. The ruby slippers were a television device. Hi, Justine. So I don't want to, if I put Oz on the cover in any way, I'm afraid that people will automatically think ruby slippers and wonder why this is a book about Twister. So maybe I'll call it Chasing Tornadoes or something. I don't know. I hate titles because publishers always want to change the title anyway. Most of my titles have been changed by the publisher. I think Hero was one of the only ones that wasn't. The other one that was a giant coup that surprised the heck out of me was The Wonderland Alphabet, Alice's Adventures Through the ABCs and What She Found There. That's the full title of that book, which is now out of print. And I knew it was going to be out of print, so I hope you bought a copy, because it is now out of print. Go on Amazon and snatch one up if you haven't got one already, because it's out of print. Yay. So the way I write books so far, it evolves over time. And I would love to be able to outline. R.L. Stine comes up with a title first, right? Say Cheese or Die. And he thinks it's great. And it is great. It's iconic. So he comes up with the title first, and then he comes up with the outline that somehow makes the title make sense. And then he sits down and writes the book. I would love to get to that point, and one day perhaps I will. So I have a title, which I'm afraid to keep because I know the publisher is going to crush it, but beneath their giant heel. Perhaps I will stick with Oz or Bust and make it, I don't know, a bumper sticker or something on the Chase Cruise car. I have many, many notes. I have a loose outline because I know what I want to happen. I probably should make a little tighter outline, and I will. But now that I have the beginning in my head, I want to start writing. Because while I feel that is fresh, I want to put it down on paper. I know how I want to start the book. It's kind of like Marley was dead to begin with, because the very first line is going to be about the main character's cousin disappearing. I still haven't chosen names for everyone. As a default, I may just pull names from all my Chase crew. I know that I want the main character's name to be Ember, and I think her big sister is going to be Dana, Dayna, after Dana in our Chase crew. I haven't figured out what the girl's name will be who goes missing at the beginning. See, like Stranger Things. Yeah. And I was thinking, should I talk about the game they're playing when she goes missing? Should I do some setup? And then I realized, no, I just want to start with her missing, because Ember witnesses her disappearance. A dust devil comes up out of nowhere, because dust devils really do come up out of nowhere. And she disappears. She just gets wiped off the planet. And I think that would be a really great way to start the book, and a really compelling way, and shocking, and drag you right into the story. So I'm going to go with that. Maggie and Rain. Well, oh my God, Rain, obviously. All right, I'm writing those down, even though they're dumb. They're not dumb. I'm dumb because I should remember Maggie and Rain. The names are not dumb. Don't mistake my verbal diarrhea for, actual thoughts. Maggie If I don't write this down, I will forget it. Rain. Rain is such a great name. Oh my gosh. You know this. To chase the storm. Thank you, Gareth. Gareth is a big deal. You guys go read Gareth's books if you haven't already. Most of you probably have already. To chase the storm. This is why I put my notebook right here. I also have my list of things that I wanted to talk about today. I've talked about the last thing already on the book on the list. I was going to talk about these in order. Guess what? Didn't happen. Isn't that the name of a Tori Amos song? Oh, the Chasing Tornadoes. That's the way the song starts. The song is actually called Tallulah. She didn't write it for the Twister soundtrack. There was a remix that was made for the Twister soundtrack that starts, she's chasing tornadoes and just waiting calmly. And last year before Storm Chasing, I had that stuck in my head over and over and over because I was packed on May 1st and I had to wait for 2 weeks before we started chasing. And the same thing happened this year. I was packed on May 1st, and that's one of the reasons I started these videos, to help distract me from the fact that I wasn't storm chasing yet. And I did not have a song stuck on my head. My anxiety was a lot less this year, and that was nice. I really, really was looking forward to going into storm chasing this year, knowing the basic knowledge that I gained last year. What I didn't realize was going to happen was how important the chase crew was going to become to me. Because last year, the chase crew was very much a skeleton crew. Everyone had looked at the forecasts and said, yeah, we're not even going to bother coming out. Heck, Scott and Dave, I think, were in New York in giant hailstorms. I can't remember if there was actually a tornado up there or not. They didn't have to come to the alley because, hello, there were no tornadoes for us. There were 5 tornadoes the whole summer, and we saw none of them. I saw 0 tornadoes last year. I came out, and within the second day of being out this year, I saw my first tornado in Nebraska, and then I saw many more and many maybe nados. I saw so many nados. Tallulah. That's great. You know what? I may put Tallulah also in the names for the books. So this year, it looked like a much more standard year. So the chase crew that did not come out last year came out this year. So I had met Brad and Dana last year. I had met Jason. He had driven out from Colorado. Who else was in our crew last year? Matt and Ashley were in Sarah and Dana and Brad's car. But I think it was mostly Dana and Brad and Matt and Ash. We were mostly just chasing. It was our car and their car, and sometimes Jason's. And Jason had met up with us. We connected with him on the CB, and we actually were in a caravan chase. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's really like Twister. You guys, this year was actually like Twister. Okay, we had Scott's car. So Scott and Cecilia and Dave were all in Scott's car. That's that giant car I showed pictures of that has all the hail shields. That's Scott's car. He's our scout, which I think I'm actually going to call the guy who drives the hail shield car Scout in the middle grade book. Because he would go out first into the hail core, because the hail core is always moving, but we don't want to drive into it and kill all our windows like Dan Shaw did yesterday. Oh my gosh. If you watched his Facebook Live video, he drove into a hail core on purpose. He does have hail shields, but he also busted out his windshield and his back windshield and a side window and a rear view side mirror, several antennas. He had it all fixed and was out the next morning. I'm not kidding. I mean, it cost him like $1,300, but yeah, Dan's amazing. Dan can transport. We're pretty sure he has transporter technology that will get him from one end of the world to another in 5 seconds, because somehow magically he's always chasing, and he's suddenly in Texas and now he's in Nebraska. I mean, it's Dan, and we just accept that that's Dan. He's magic. But anyway, so we had Scott's car. We had Brad and Dana's car. Brad and Dana had George with them. No. They had George with them at the beginning. And then George went home with Mark and Jacqueline. George's show is called Angry Planet, and Mark and Jacqueline's show is called Storm Hunters. And I added them to my Netflix, and I swear to God, I think Netflix took them off at the end of May. So now I can't watch them, and I'm very upset. I'm going to have to look on the other streaming services to see if they're there, because I really wanted to watch my friends on their shows, and we didn't have them. So Mark and Jacqueline's car, they're from the Weather Network, and their car actually had a big wrap that said Storm Hunters on it. But they had to go back early, and they took George with them because George had to go, like, give a TED Talk in Dubai or give a tour group. I think he's not giving the tour group through the stands yet, but he's going out there. George does amazing things. I think he's giving a talk on the moon next month, because that's George. So that's 3 cars. Then there was our car. Then there was Bill. Bill Hark came out, Dr. Wedge. Dr. Wedge is definitely going to be a character in the book. So at any given point in time, our chase crew, our caravan, had 5 cars in it. Mark and Jacqueline would go off and do Weather Network stuff. They would have to cover certain things or chase with certain groups. They talked to some universities. They interviewed some folks that were doing flying drones into the storms and recording those things. So they actually had work that they had to go off and do. Bill often went off on his own. We would sometimes split up and come back together. But definitely Chris and I stuck with Brad's car and Scott's car mostly the whole time. The one time we ended up breaking off, maybe we broke off a couple of times. But one of those times was at the very end, so I never got to say goodbye to everyone. Which just it doesn't feel wrong. It doesn't feel like it's unfinished. It made me sad, for sure, that I didn't get to say goodbye to everyone. But it was just sort of like, see you next year. We will continue this later. And we're all still talking on Facebook. It's not like, goodbye forever. And I would like to come back next year. I would also like to go to MoCon next year. So I've asked Chris if we could hold off our chase trip just in time for me to get back from MoCon, which is only like May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd or something of next year. So it wouldn't cut off too many days. Hopefully it wouldn't make her itch too much to not be gone before the 4th. But it's expensive to be out there. We had, Chris and I switched off paying for gas. We switched off paying for hotels. I had a GoFundMe for people to pitch in for gas money. And one lovely person, he knows who he is, gave me $20. Which I used even before the trip to buy compression stockings, which, I wore. I'm still wearing them. In fact, I should put these on because my knees have been a little swollen. But I got some compression stockings that are in all of these fun colors because nurses and runners wear them. These are my Chile stockings. And I'm going to put them on because we do so much sitting. So I got $20. Someone pitched in $20 for gas, and that was awesome. But I didn't really make any new patrons. No one joined the rainbow chasing level, and nobody else pitched in for gas money. So it's expensive, storm chasing. It probably cost us each of us, it probably cost about $2,000 or $2,500. I'm glad we got to split it. I mean, gosh, Chris used to do this by herself. Chris has been doing this since the age of Twister. She would have to spend all that money by herself and split it with no one. So that stinks. Having a companion come out and help you do this is difficult because you never know how you're going to act. You're with this person 24 hours a day in very close quarters. At the start, Chris was like, we may want to spend separate nights in hotel rooms just to get away from each other. We didn't. We actually ended up getting along quite well and working very well together, which I was glad. But I could totally see how you might want to take a break from a person once you are in their company together for, 15 straight days. But we did very well, and we took care of each other, and we helped share the load, share the driving load, share the financial load. It was great to have a friend. But honestly, I mean, yeah, of course, even without help, I would totally pay all that money and go, because storm chasing is a once in a lifetime thing. And You can't get the experience that I got doing being on a tour. You just can't. I'm sure it's a very different experience. I don't think I would actually have enjoyed a chasing tour. The crew is really what made the difference for me. So much so that I actually had a dream about them last night. And I bring it up only because it's a version of a dream that I've had since I was a kid, but it ended in a very different way. I've always had dreams about very large houses. So there was a very large house in this dream, and it was a fairy house, but it was a malevolent fairy house, and we were trying to escape it. Escape dreams are also very frequent. I have them a lot. Sometimes I escape by myself, sometimes I escape trying to escape with other people, but I'm the one in charge of everything, and I have to figure everything out. Last night, it was the entire chase crew escaping. We were all escaping together. No man left behind. And we all got out of the fairy house. All of us. I think I was even the last one. I was trying to find the keys to my car, which ended up being my old Volvo. I miss my old Volvo. But we all got out to the parking lot at the same time, and we all started up our cars, and we all went to drive away. And I forget who it was first that said, I need to gas up. You probably heard the ding of my mail. I need to shut that down. Hold on. So, go away, mail program. So I don't think I've ever had a dream before where a crew helped me get out of my nightmare successfully. And that felt really, really good. I don't know that I've ever trusted anybody else enough to help me out of my nightmares. And that's a very powerful kind of thing. So yeah, the chase crew made all the difference this year. It was the real chase crew, not just hanging out with Brad and Dana, who are awesome. And I'm so glad I got to meet them early because it was nice showing up to a restaurant with a table full of strangers and Brad and Dana embracing us with giant hugs. That was great. That was super great. And then randomly on like the side of a road or in a random gas station, I would see Julianne, who is from Canada, or Dan Shaw, who's from Australia. Dan Shaw actually pulled over to the side of the road in Colorado at one point to give us all hugs and then jumped back in his car and drove away. That's just the kind of crew we are. We all support each other, and we have really good communication, even though most of that communication on the CB is potty humor. Whatever. It's real communication when it counts, and we need to be safe, and we need to, get out. So whether we're getting around a hail core or getting out of the fairy house, I trust the crew, and that's pretty amazing. And that's the kind of feeling that I want to somehow convey into this book, which is going to be tough because the main character, Ember, I mean, she's only like 11 or 12. So she can't really drive the chase crew. It's her older sister. So somehow I have to convey that being one step removed from it. So I think that Ember and her friends are actually going to admire the chase crew and like pretend like they're them and the roles that they would take. Yeah. And then the big sister is going to take Ember and her friends chasing with them so that they can try and get the girl back. I'm so excited. I can't wait to write this book. So excited. But yes, okay. I wrote about dreams. I am still catching up on my sleep, even though I did start back to work tomorrow. Right around 5 o'clock, I was like, nope, I've done all the things on my list. I mean, for that day. I will never do all the things on my list. It's a never ending to-do list. But I did all the things on my list for that day. And I was like, 5 o'clock, nope, I'm done. I'm checking out. Goodbye. I also took a break for lunch because I just needed to stop thinking about online. And I left my phone in the other room because if my phone is there, I'm still going to pop online. No, I'm not allowed to watch TV if my phone is going to be anywhere near me. I need to, I need to shut off. So I ate my lunch and I watched, I don't know, Outlander or something. And I wasn't even halfway through. I was done my food, but I wasn't even halfway through when I was like, oh my God, I have to take a nap. So I had told Tempest and Monica that I was going to get back to the work party. We have our little online work parties. But instead, I figured they would forgive me if I just laid down and took a nap real quick. And I napped really hard for like an hour straight. And then I woke up and Googled it. I have cancer. No, I'm just kidding. I know how to Google things without scaring myself on the internet. So I Googled this whole what happens when you fall asleep right after eating. Because, I mean, it wasn't just, gee, I'm tired and I want to take a nap. It was, I mean, I called it being hit with the nap stick. I got hit in the head and I had to take a nap right then, immediately. And the exact same thing happened to me the day before. And I was like, whoop, that's it. I got to go to bed now. So, if it recurs all the time, it can be indicative of things like diabetes and low blood sugar and various things, because your blood sugar spikes and then there's a reaction and it makes your body want to go to sleep. This is one of the reasons many people are tired in the afternoon. It's not just the morning, it's the lunchtime. After you eat lunch, things happen in your body. There's a whole circadian rhythm thing that goes on. And it's the reason that many people at 2 o'clock feel this lethargy and they have to have some coffee and they have to sort of get moving and wake up again. And you can push through it and then everything will regulate yourself. If you are sleep deprived, this particular effect, this after lunch lull, is heightened. And boy, howdy, is it heightened. I am not even kidding. You get hit in the face with the nap stick. So we'll see if that happens today. I mean, I'm prepared. That's the other great thing about writing is if I need to take a nap, I can. But I have to be rested because this weekend I'm going to the BWI Orlando conference. I have to pack for that. I think Linda, that was one of the emails that came through that you heard came through. Linda's going to tell us we're carpooling to Orlando, which I know sounds ridiculous, but bear with me because we're all going to spend the night in the same hotel room. If we can. I'm pretty sure we can. Because yeah, when you live like 45 minutes away or an hour away, some parts of Disney, it takes me an hour to get to. So while Orlando you can get to in 40 minutes, it's still, I mean, it's an hour away plus traffic. Ugh. And then it's even further, I think, for the people in Cocoa, Merritt Island, that area, because they have to sort of drive through Titusville to get over there, or I think they can cut up on the beach line or something. But it's just easier for us to all go together since we're all coming back to the same area of Florida anyway. And to just all stay together, it makes sense. And I don't care if I go early and come home late. I mean, I don't care. I think this is Linda's official last conference of her tenure as resident advisor of all of Florida. We are very proud of Linda, and I'm honored to be going with her. I'm also super glad that, we don't lose her. She's in our critique group. She's not going anywhere. It's great. But the rest of Florida, they're going to move on to a different crew who is now taking over. The good thing about that is that now Linda can concentrate on her writing and we all get to beat her up if she doesn't write. I'm very good at that. I've currently been beating up Tempest to try and make her write not only her Egypt novel, but also this middle grade novel that she started. She wrote this amazing, amazing scene when we were doing a little picture exercise, a writing exercise. And my scene was good. Her scene made me throw my papers down and look at her and say, if you do not write that as a middle grade novel, I'm going to hurt you. And I said it just like that, in very calm tones. I think she's actually outlined the whole thing now too. Yep. And what's great is that sometimes this Egypt book, I mean, as her first novel, it's very ambitious. It's very ambitious. And sometimes it's nice to have a side project that you don't care about, to just go, I'm going to write this. And then it ends up being even better because you didn't care about it. Because you don't overthink things. You just feel them and you write them and you're done. So I'm super excited about whatever she's working on. Hopefully she'll finish them both at the same time and they'll all come out and she'll just explode all over the place and win 7,000 awards and we'll be great. and she can thank me in her awards, and I will wave to her from storm chasing. Yeah. That would be a lot of funny. Stomach bug. Oh, poor Sarah. You guys are always getting sick. I'm so sad. Like 95% of our chase crew got sick. I think Scott didn't get sick. Chris had already been sick and was getting over it. Bill was also getting over his sickness. So they didn't actively get sick, but they had just been sick. I think Scott and I were the only ones who didn't get sick because George brought some plague from wherever, Canada, and shared it with everyone. But I took care of myself and I didn't get sick. Yay! Knock on all the wood. Oh yeah, Mom, I have to get you a copy of Little Witch and Wizard. And we got to go get your car today. What time is it? 9:45. Ooh, I've been doing this for almost 45 minutes. Yay! Thank you guys for hanging out with me. It has been awesome. I appreciate you. Yes, I have to get Mom a copy of Little Witch and Wizard. If you do not have a copy of the Little Witch and Wizard, please grab a copy. Bianca has outselling me way more because she's doing all the conferences. She's going to make $1 million off this book. I'm super glad. I would also like to make $1 million off this book. So please go order it off of Amazon and buy it from me at DragonCon because that's really the only conference I'm doing this year. Yeah, and then we're going to figure out ways to do them on the Store Envy site so that we share, we can share the profits. We're going to figure that out when I get back from Orlando. She's also doing like 6 conferences in a row. So we are definitely going to meet up next week and sign a bunch of books together. And yeah, so excited. So excited. But yes, definitely buy Little Witch and Wizard. It is a beautiful book, as labors of love often are. It is short and sweet and has lovely poetry in it and amazing artwork that you can order separately if you would like a print. Bianca's Store Envy site, she sells each one of those as a print. You can buy everything except the little tiny guys on the side, like the spot illustrations. And she does not have those set up for purchase as individual prints, but everything else in the book is for sale as a print, and you can purchase it. Thanks, Mom. Yay, hugs to you, Kate. Hug the girls for me. I love you all. I'm going to sign off so Mom and I can go do some things, and I can get her book for her. And that is my list for today. I love you all. Remember, my life is better with you in it. And I will try Twitch tomorrow. But this was fun. I kind of like YouTube. Mwah! Have a great day, you guys. Bye. End stream.